Hey, Namaste, Goddess. Welcome to day 11 of 21 Days of Presence. So, I really believe the mind is so powerful. It's so powerful, and this is also a yogic teaching, that at a certain level of development, you have to be very careful. They tell a story of a short version somehow. A person who had some fear, like of a tiger, and they kept thinking about a tiger, worried about a tiger, and then they looked over at this tree and there was a tiger, and the tiger looked at them and came over and attacked them and ate them. And the idea is that, especially at a certain level of mind, the mind is so powerful as we get up in our spiritual development that we can actually genuinely create the problems that we focus on. Now, this has become sort of a new age belief as well, but this is an ancient thought on creativity and manifestation. So I am having a pretty mellow day at home, but I wanted to continue to do the series for you. So I don't have any makeup on, and I was just enjoying the sun earlier today. And so one of the cards I pulled, I was watching the sun out of my studio window. And if I show you, I don't think the camera will pick it up. I think it'll just white out, but I'll try to show you. So I don't know what you saw. I'll see it later when I just edit this, but there were beautiful clouds this morning that I could see. And so I swear you guys, I pulled a bunch of cards, but as part of the meaning, look at this one. And I wanted to share with you. I literally was sitting watching clouds because you guys know I do cloud paintings, right? They're hanging around here behind me. I've sold quite a few of them, and so I'm very happy about that. I've given some to friends. Here, whoops. Oh, here's one that I actually really quite like that is still sort of around. Oh, my hair thing kind of brings up those colors. So I am literally sitting watching clouds, resting my mind and resting, and then I pull a card watching clouds. And so I'm told that's a message for today, because it says, lie back, rest, and relax. Isn't that interesting? Look at that. I did not plan that. Lie back, rest, and relax. And so this is actually such a message. I know many of you are just going to watch me and then just go on rushing through your day. But this is a profound message. This is also called Pratyahara in yoga. Teachings, which are thousands of years old, and again in other cultures as well. There was always time for contemplation. Pratyahara means sense withdrawal, to withdraw the senses from the outside. So even though it's saying, watch clouds, that would literally be considered a cleansing of your mind, as opposed to watching media, artificial media. Going to nature is considered restful and healing, okay, for our spirits, because we developed as an organism with these sounds, with these smells of nature. And I truly believe, and they're doing studies on it as well, but as an intuitive, that so much of our need for medication today, even of our very young children, where was not the case before, has to do with an oversaturation, among many other things, but an oversaturation of our senses. Imagine for a moment if you literally moved and exercised your body every hour that you were awake. Would that seem normal to you? Do you think that that would be healthy, right? We don't do that, of course. We sit quite a bit, in fact, right, in a lot of Western culture. But what all of us are doing with our minds are the equivalent. We constantly have our mind on. So what I urge you with this video, before I'll say more, but just so those of you who sometimes cut out early or have a shorter attention span will understand, the point of it is, I had mentioned the 3 and 20, 3 times a week, 20 minutes of just time for some sort of spiritual practice. But it can also, if you can even put 5 minutes of that time to be doing nothing. So you're not reading, you're not taking in anything. Even sort of repeating affirmations. This is not about that. It's not about any active doing. This is about like this card said, watching the clouds, letting your mind go completely passive. That's what I'm saying is missing, and that's what this ancient term of Pratyahara talks about. All of our ancestors, you guys, would have had times in their days, multiple times in their day, where their mind would just blank out. But again, it wasn't a blank out of distraction. It was almost typically in nature and where your mind is not restrained and you're not using your mind. So that's what I'm saying. In the same way that you would never exercise your body 24 hours a day, why do we think it's okay to scroll a phone endlessly, repetitively, and then to turn and play a video game, and then back to our phone, and then to a video game, and then to a conversation, and then back to our phone? That overuse of your mind will harm you. I know that sounds bizarre if you're from a strictly Western perspective. It will. Every other culture in the world, any traditional culture, would understand that that is true. You can overuse your mind, and by not allowing it a chance to rest, to literally do nothing, that rest period is where there's going to be a lot of, from a more Western point of view, we would process information, we would be able to digest information in that non-doing time. So I'm not saying even time spent meditating. You're not reading, you're not meditating, you're not doing affirmations, just time where your mind is not receiving especially artificial input. Input from nature, so sounds, sights, and so on from nature would be considered healing and part of that sort of cleansing, blanking process. So again, is there any tool in the world that you would consider it a good idea to work it constantly, right? Your mind is a precious, precious tool. It links into our emotions, our spirit, our consciousness. And so we are harming it by constantly having it diverted, distracted. Allow yourself blank moments of time where you're not literally doing anything, not even for the body, but again, for your mind. Trust me on that. So watching the clouds, right? That is literally part of our natural world, right? The creator or the creative energy or a great spirit built that in, right? Isn't that interesting that around the world, this is what we see? If we sort of just look up, it's incredibly cleansing and incredibly neutralizing and calming to the mind. The color blue, the color's white. And like I said, I did not plan this. I put on white, I put on blue, but I did not plan what I was going to say, when I did that. So think about it. Trust me, in my group program, my group program, a lot of the women that come to work with me are suffering from this, anxiety. That is part of what causes anxiety, the constant use of the mind such that your mind cannot shut off. It literally is like a little mouse on a wheel that cannot stop running. That is not normal. That does not have to be your natural state. And it is not a healthy state, okay? It's become normal in our society, but it is not a normal state of mind. So give yourself time to rest. Plan times where you literally are doing nothing. You're not even, like I said, nothing man-made or artificial. You're not flipping through a magazine and certainly not scrolling at your phone. That is part of a negative input because you're constantly still processing. So this is time where you're either looking out at a natural scene or not doing anything, not reading, nothing like that. Give your mind these moments of rest are very, very important, vital for your mental and emotional health. Share in the comments if you have noticed when you have pulled back. This is a lot of times when people talk about a media fast, but I'm saying it has to be something that is built into your everyday as well. Don't just do it, once every 2 months, take a media break. It's about that pratyahara, that withdrawal of the senses and cleansing the senses. The meditation is a way of focusing, and it also has a cleansing effect, But stopping from using the mind is deeply, deeply restorative, cleansing, healing. Your problems will naturally begin to solve from that place. Anyway, it's getting warm in my apartment because the sun is beaming in. So I'm going to soak that in, take off some layers, and enjoy the rest of your day too. Mwah. Bye-bye. Give the video a thumbs up and much love.